Ow. Folks, have I got a surprise for you? We are going to be moving from this hole, excuse me, to one of the greatest trading halls you've ever seen. No, I know. It's been rough down here, but I promise I'll make it up to you. Today is a big day. Why, you might ask? Well, we are going to fix a problem that we've had since one of our earliest episodes. I think it was episode 6 or 7. Whoops. We built this villager breeder and we had a very, what I will call temporary solution to housing our villagers. But that temporary solution kept getting pushed, and well, this is what it's turned into. I actually think, yep, hello, hey there. Let's make sure these guys still have the right trades. Yep, seems like all of the trades have held, and we have a bunch of random guys around as well. Not sure what their deals are. These are just random villagers, and I'm going to leave because it's very loud in here. So we won't be moving them this week. We'll be moving them next week, but we will be building their home today. And that is a huge part of something I feel like we've been missing in this world. I really do hate to keep my villagers all locked up in there. So we want to give them a little bit more room to move around, and that is where today's build comes in. My original plan for this build was actually to put it over here, kind of in this clearing. But the more I looked around, I decided against it. I want this to be something different later on. I wanted it to still kind of be seen from the center of town, or at least close to being seen. And that is when I thought, hey, why don't we expand a little bit? Right now, a lot of our things are really kind of far apart. Our most, I guess, pushed together area is up here on our third or our second tier. And then here we have some things coming along as well. The tavern has expanded us out into this area, which we will continue to expand on. But I wanted to move this build, which is going to be a library, over here to kind of open up a new area. And this build is big. So I mentioned last week, it is going to fit in this space right here. It'll have the waterfalls as a backdrop, and it'll add a little life to this area, which we will eventually also terraform out. Let's talk future plans a bit, and this pillar is for something else in the future. As much as I've thought about where these builds are going to go, something I've really been thinking about lately is what are the boundaries to our kingdom? And there's a lot of great natural barriers here. So eventually, in some episode in the near future, we will build the kingdom walls to really kind of dictate where everything lands and stops. So this here will receive a wall, this going across here, and then there. So we've got all this area to work with back behind the starter base. If we go and fly all the way to the other side, we've got all this area, which will get a wall right here. These are just nice natural walls. We have this big hill in the middle, which I don't have a plan for yet, but we're going to have to make something pretty cool up there. And then if we go around here, where I planned for the library to originally be, this was pretty much a natural barrier. Maybe we'll do a little wall right here, but this really surrounds itself nicely and lends itself to being a natural barrier to kind of keep our kingdom contained. One last piece for show and tell. If we come over here, we again have a nice valley right here, which will lend itself to a kingdom wall, and one more right there. So you can see we have a ton of room that we are going to be working with inside this kingdom. But I just wanted to lay it out to give you an idea of kind of what I'm thinking. We'll have residential areas, we're going to have shopping areas and all those sorts of things. But as I've said before, this is a forever world. So our ideas, as grand as they may be, supposedly this is going to last forever. So we can have as many ideas as we want because we have plenty and plenty of episodes to make, especially with as much as everyone's been enjoying it. I've been enjoying making them. So I'm glad we've got so much planned for our future. The Guardian Farm has been overproducing, so we are doing very well with that. But the one thing I'm missing is squid ink. I need it to make black dye, and I need it for the dark prismarine that we will be using. I think I looked earlier today. We need like 6,000 or 7,000 dark prismarine blocks. So why don't we start today with getting some small things out of the way? I want to terraform out this area just a bit, flatten it out to get ready for our build to give us a blank canvas. And then we're going to get started on a squid farm. But I think step one is going to be flattening out that area and prepping it for our build. So let's get to that. All right, we got a lot of terraforming done. We'll be going through those creepers here in just a second. But we flattened out this whole area here. The build will pretty much fill this whole space. We'll terraform a little bit of that dirt back there once we have the build in, just so we can see what it looks like. It's an Enderman hiding under the ground there. I do have to light up under the ground, a bad habit of mine. But the next thing we need to do is get our path over here. And we're also going to add our commenter tree from the episode. But while we work on this path, talk a little bit about the process we'll be going through today. So this build has a lot of dark prismarine, which was the purpose of the tentacle build last episode with the Guardian Farm. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out. I'm really proud of that one. But that is giving us plenty of prismarine. I need to AFK it a little bit more, but so far so good. What we don't have is squid ink. So we need that for the black dye. And unbeknownst to me, it's a 1-for-1. One black ink or black dye equals one dark prismarine. I was thinking it would act like stained glass, where 1 would equal 8, but that's not the case. So we are going to need a squid farm because we need like 5,000 dye or something along those lines. But let me finish up this path here. We'll take a look at it, and then we will get our tree in. One thing I should also mention is that dark prismarine is not the only block we need, so we're going to be heading into a little resource gathering montage after this. We need a ton of deep slate, and for some reason I don't have like any. I think I've just used it periodically throughout my builds, and we're at the point where we have completely run out. So that's going to be a big resource gathering journey there. We need a lot of copper. We'll probably hit up the trial chamber again, like we did when we built, what did we do that for? When we built the iron farm, that's out of render distance right now. We kind of raided that trial chamber for some of the oxidized grates and the blocks. So we'll be doing that again. All right, this week's tree goes to Jasper. Jasper's been a frequent commenter on the videos, a frequent watcher, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you for sticking around, Jasper. And your name has finally been drawn for a tree. So congratulations, and we're happy to have you in the world. So, although we have some mobs spawning around, we did light up our path here, our winding path that has the opportunity for a lot of things to branch off of it. But we now have a connection point to very close to where we want to start. I'm going to light up the rest once I know for sure that that's the correct angle. But I believe the entrance should be right about there. This is a bad spot to be. All right. With that all set up, I think we are ready to start collecting some resources. Like I said, we've got a lot of deep slate, a lot of copper. I've already got a beacon set up down lower so we can go ahead and mine out that area. And with that said, let's just hop right into a nice, relaxing resource montage. I'd like to say that that was enough deep slate to last us a long time, but it'll last us this build. I'm not sure if it will last any longer past that. Now let's head over to the start of the squid farm. We started making this on stream. We stream every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern and either Friday or Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested in joining along for those things, we did the terraforming as well. I'd be happy to see you there. But this is as far as we got. I'll be the first to say I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're going to attempt to wing it. I think I get the gist of it. So I'm going to keep filling this out with some sand, draining it, and we'll see what kind of spawns we can get. That has taken a good while, but we've got it all drained. We had a whole shulker box and inventory full of sand. That 57 is all we had left. So we've got a few more things to place around here. I'm going to take a little nap, and hopefully we can get some squid spawning. Time to place in these water streams. Hopefully we'll start to see some squid as soon as we get these going. But like I said, I'm kind of winging this. So, yeah, we'll see how it turns out. All right, that should be everything. Before I put in a collection system, I'm going to make sure, let's get out of here, make sure that this actually works as I expect it to. So we're going to wait around and see what happens, I guess. I'm sure plenty of you were yelling at the screen, and how foolish of me to think I could wing that. Turns out I would have had to drain that entire river. And I don't have time to drain that entire river. That would take probably my whole recording time for the week. So with that said, we have pivoted. I have made a bunch of just prismarine bricks and prismarine crystals. And I think this design choice is going to be much better than just the straight dark prismarine. I have my fingers crossed. We'll see when it's all said and done. But I feel like it's the right choice. We'll do a squid farm at a different point. So let me get the rest of these resources settled, and then we can jump into this build and start to see how it's going to turn out. I believe we have most of our materials together. We have a lot of stuff here, and there's still more chests because I'm still kind of doling the stuff out, I guess. Some of this is still in its raw material form, but a lot of it has been processed into the exact blocks that we need. So with that said, as we kind of get the rest of this organized, I think it's about time we get building this thing. It is very big. It is going to take a long time, but it'll go super fast for you. So sit back, relax, and let's start this build. This one was quite the undertaking, and honestly, because of that, the episode itself just kind of ended up being a little shorter than our typical episodes, but that's okay. We're not trying to hit like a special point and with every single one, right? So this is the Midnight Athenaeum. It is a grand library that will end up housing all of our villagers, or at least our librarian villagers. We ended up building a lot of this on stream as well. We had a really fun time. So again, just a soft plug of those streams. And I'll also plug our Discord. If this is a build that looks like something you'd want to put in your world, you can join our community Discord, and I post the schematics for all my builds over there. So each episode typically has a build in it, and that schematic gets placed over there. This build had probably close to 20,000 blocks, maybe over. It was a lot, but at the end of the day, I think it turned out super, super cool. The size of it is just incredible, especially with that mountain in the background. And eventually, next week, when we move over all of our villagers, we're also going to work on the interior. I think ultimately it will be one of the most alive and useful builds that we have in our world here. It really sets the tone for this side of the kingdom as well, backed by our starter base that's more of like the residential shops, things like that. But this is another centerpiece, just like our iron farm, or our flying ship, this will end up being the centerpiece for a much larger part of the village. I'm really excited to see how it builds out, and I think our villagers are going to like this a lot more than their little hole that they've got under the farmhouse. Anybody else's hand hurt or just me? That was a lot of work. Oh man, a lot of blocks, a lot of clicking. And that is just the exterior. We've got a lot to do in the interior and a lot of lighting to do around this build as well. As we start to clean up here, we do need to do a full fly around. Don't you probably didn't get to see the back too well in the time lapse. So let's just go up. You can see the mountain in the back, and we've got another dome. Another dome back here. A little plain on the back, but it's up against a mountain. Not too many people are going to see that. So if we take a look from our main area over here, actually, I think you might be able to see it from the starter base, unless the render distance is too small. Let's see. Yeah, render distance is just a little too small. So it starts to come into view right as we turn the corner here. Look at that. Oh, I love it. It's pretty grand for a library. It almost looks like a castle, right? But it just looks incredible. That is one of my favorite builds I've ever done. And the nice thing is, with the squid farm not working out the way that I thought it would, we had to pivot to using a combination of prismarine copper and prismarine bricks. And honestly, I think it turned out way better than how it looked before. Sometimes I commit to a design. I need to get better at coming back to it and tweaking it a little bit. So there's a few more things that we need to do with this. Obviously, the interior. We're also going to add some landscaping out here to make it fit more into the build. And then we'll eventually continue this path outward to where our kingdom wall will be. Notice we still have to put some lights in as well. So there's a lot of work to be done, but that is why this episode is a two-parter. This took a long time. We had a fun time starting the build on stream. We got through a lot of it, but finished it up all on my lonesome, and I couldn't be more happy with how it turned out. Let's throw the shaders on real quick as the sun starts to set. See what it looks like. My game wants to catch up. Very, very cool. Let's get the sunset too. Or I'm sorry, sunrise. Let's get that sunrise as well. See what it looks like in the morning. Oh yeah, that looks incredible. So this will be the house for all of our librarians, and there will be a lot of them in here. I still got some scaffolding over there. A few things we still got to clean up, but there's a lot to do in here. And one of those things is to not get killed by a mob in our makeshift mob farm. So as we take our vantage point here and look out at what we've built, I really hope that you enjoyed today's episode. There was a lot of work that got put into this one. So if you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like. If you really enjoyed it, maybe subscribe. Stick around. We have got plenty more of these things coming along. As I mentioned previously, all of my builds are added to my Discord channel. So if this is something that looks cool to you that you'd want to add to your world, fair warning, it takes a lot of blocks, but it's so worth it. That schematic will be in my Discord channel. So with that said, I think it's time for me to go to bed and rest my hand a little bit. Looking forward to next week's episode when we get the interior done and we will be moving all of our villagers in. But until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time.